The long-running DC television series Arrow has announced Season 8, comprised of only 10 episodes, marking the last we will see of the Emerald Archer. Oliver Queen has been so influential, he spawned the aptly nicknamed Arrowverse, with multiple spin-off series and more still to come. As the elder statesman of DC's modern television slate, his goodbye has to be something special. With that in mind, let's take a look at 8 things Season 8 needs to accomplish in order not to fail this series. Number 8. No more flash forwards. When Season 7 began with the revelation we were seeing a grown William seeking out Lian Yu, the island that turned his father into the Green Arrow and took his mother's life, we thought this was an exciting new chapter in the Green Arrow mythos. Was William about to take up his father's mantle as the new protector of Star City? Would he change his name to become this universe's Connor Hawke? Would Roy become the wise master to William's budding archer? Unfortunately, none of these fun theories were explored. Though the flash forwards were great in concept, the execution has been flawed. Instead of furthering the Arrow mythos, the future has been relegated to an uninteresting murder mystery with no corpse, meaning we all knew from the start there was no murder. In a series and universe known to shake up the cast from time to time, all the future has done is cement who lives another 20 years, removing all stakes from the show. The reveal of classic, previously unseen Green Arrow characters in the future timeline couldn't save this idea. Flash forwards in the final 10 episodes would only eat up the precious little time we have left and wouldn't likely leave us fulfilled. Number 7. Don't give us Batman. I've always wanted to see how Arrow's Oliver Queen would interact with his universe's Bruce Wayne, but this won't be the time or place. Granted, seeing the Green Arrow fighting side by side with Batman would likely send me into some sort of nerd nirvana. Nerdvana? 10 episodes just doesn't give us much time to work with. Even a quick cameo doesn't feel right because it would take the spotlight away from the Green Arrow and what should be a season all about him. Granted, if it happens, I doubt there will be many complaints. And if the final episode is a crossover, which we'll get to on this list shortly, then all bets are off. Otherwise, we'll just have to let fan fiction and our imaginations give us our brave and the bold team-up. Number 6. Proper send-offs. It must be tempting to parade out every character Oliver has ever faced or friended in these final episodes, but if you're hearing this, Arrow writers, please don't. It can be done in a classy, heartfelt way, but there is a fine line, and we hope the show finds that line too, because there are some characters that are an absolute must for the final season. Thea, Roy, and Slade are just a few of the characters who need a proper goodbye. And do I even need to say Barry? He's Oliver's kid brother for all practical purposes, and the one person he would hand the world's fate to in his absence. A sincere final moment with each character that helped Arrow to become the influential show it is all we really need. Number 5. Bring back Slade Wilson. Let's face it, we all love Arrow's Slade Wilson. Whether he's mentor to Oliver or arch nemesis, he's been arguably the most interesting character on the show, next to Green Arrow himself. And as the show began with Slade, so should it end. Will this be the world-weary Slade Wilson, repentant of his crimes, or another villainous turn as Deathstroke? Honestly, we'll take either. Or both. If Arrow wanted to take the last 10 episodes and tell one final Arrow versus Deathstroke story, we'd be fine with that. And as a cinematic version of Deathstroke appears to be on hold, this is the perfect time to bring him back to the small screen. Number 4. A fitting villain. On Smallville, the great-granddaddy to the Arrowverse, Lex Luthor once said, "If you look at history, the great men and women of the world have always been defined by their enemies." Truer words were never spoken. The villain of Season 8 is by all means one of, if not the, most important ingredient to the final season. And if we're being honest, the one aspect Arrow has struggled with since the aforementioned Deathstroke. The best villains are typically a funhouse mirror version of our hero. This means we need someone just as expertly skilled as Oliver, with an equal, unrelenting drive for their goals, but probably not reliant on magic or metahuman powers. On the other hand, if our villain wants to have a metahuman or alien second in command, by all means. After all, The rest of Team Arrow needs someone to fight while Oliver and the villain duke it out. Number 3. This is the story of Oliver Queen. Just as the show began as Oliver's story, it should end the same way. The final few episodes need to follow Oliver on a path that reminds us of how the show began. Focusing on Arrow during his final mission, stories about Felicity and Diggle, like in the first couple seasons, should be secondary to telling us the story of Oliver Queen. While all of Team Arrow should get fitting send-offs, this has to be, above all else, the story of how Oliver saved his city. Number 2. Don't kill Oliver. While Green Arrow himself, Stephen Amell, has said he's not sure what Oliver has left to do but die, see the great Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, Inside of You, for this interview. Please, Arrow, don't do it. Leave the door open for him to return for cameos, or more importantly, future crossovers. Amell may be done with the green leather for now, but who knows how he'll feel in a couple years. Plus, Oliver has been through so much in his life, seeing that snatched away from him as well could leave fans unsatisfied. Number 1. If you do kill Oliver. So you didn't take our advice, Arrow, and you decided to kill Oliver Queen. What did he ever do to you, besides create an entire television universe? We digress. Honestly, this is the most likely culprit for the finale of Arrow, and was foreshadowed heavily in the Season 7 crossover event. In it, Oliver made a deal with the Monitor to save Supergirl and the Flash, who both coincidentally died in the original comic event series entitled Crisis on Infinite Earths. And what did they announce next year's crossover title to be? Oh, right. Oliver knows Supergirl's light and Flash's optimism far exceed his darkness, so it sounds like Oliver may very literally have traded his own life to save Barry and Kara. Not only that, he may wind up saving the whole multiverse. Not a bad way to go, and a fitting and heroic end for Oliver, the man who only sought to save his city, but ended up saving the universe. So, Arrow Team, if you must kill Oliver, make it ambiguous like an explosion, but no body. If television has taught us anything, explosions rarely kill people. No matter how it ends, it's pretty likely there won't be a dry eye in the house. Now excuse us. We have 7 seasons of Arrow and several crossovers to cry through as we dread the end. Arrow Season 8 airs in fall 2019. If you liked this video, please hit the like key and share it with your friends. And if you want to see more videos like this, please press subscribe. Thanks for watching.